Gopidana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Gaura Pimanandi, Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa, Pri Rajgacharya Stotra Satya Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace. Shilabhai Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Skandibhiti Founder Acharya Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki, Harinam Sankirtan ki, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jaini Tai Gaura Pimanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru, to Sri Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Lakshurambiritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhuktale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitam Scha Hai Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpa Trubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Dharam Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the Goddess of Learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed or practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahal. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Mukam karoti vasalam pangom langayate girim yatkripa tamaham vande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Sorry about the program yesterday. Could not make it. So we are reading from 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Chapter 17, which is entitled Description of the Varnashrama System. And today we're reading text 11. Vedaha Pranava Evagre Dharmo Ham Vrisha Rupa Drik Upasate Tapo Nistha Hamsam Mam Mukta Kilbishaha Veda Pranava Evagre Dharmo Ham Vrisha Rupa Drik Upasate Tapo Nistha Hamsam Mam Mukta Kil Shibaha Veda Pranava Evagre Dharmo Ham Vrisha Rupa Drik Upasate Tapo Nistha Hamsam Mam Mukta Kil Vishaha Veda Pranava Evagre Dharmo Ham Vrisha Rupa Drik Upasate Tapo Nistha Hamsam Mam Mukta Kil Vishaha Veda Pranava Evagre Dharmo Ham Vrisha Rupa Drik Upasate Tapo Nistha Hamsam Mam Mukta Kil Vishaha Veda Pranava Evagre Dharmo Ham Vrisha Rupa Drik Upasate Tapo Nistha Samma Mukta Kil Vishaha. Gurukul.
Veda Pranava Evagre
Veda Pranava Evagre
Tatmoham Vrisharupadrik
Dharmo Ham Vrisha Rupa Drik
Upasate Tapo
upasate taponishta
Ham samma mukta kilbishai.
hamsam mukta kilbishaha. Mataji. Veda pranava evagre dharmoham vrisharupadrik upasate taponishta hamsam mukta kilbishaha. Veda pranava evagre dharmoham vrisharupadrik upasate taponishta hamsam mukta kilbishaha. Vedaha. The Veda. Pranavaha. The sacred syllable Om. Eva. Indeed. Agre. In Satya Yuga. Dharmaha. The object of mental activities. Aham. I. Vrisharupadrik. Bearing the form of the bull of religion. Upasate. They worship. Tapaha nistaha. Fixed in austerity. Hamsam. Lord Hamsa. Mam. Me. Mukta. Freed from. Kilbishaha. All sins. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In Satya Yuga, the undivided Veda is expressed by the syllable Om, and I am the only object of mental activities. I become manifest as the four-legged bull of religion, and thus the inhabitants of Satya Yuga, fixed in austerity and free from all sins, worship me as Lord Hamsa. Kindly repeat after me. In Satya Yuga, the undivided Veda is expressed by the syllable Om, and I am the only object of mental activities. I become manifest as the four-legged bull of religion, and thus the inhabitants of Satya Yuga, fixed in austerity and free from all sins, worship me as Lord Hamsa. Purport. The bull of religion is described in Srimad Bhagavatam 1:17-24. Tapa socham daya satyam iti pada trite kritaha. In the age of Satya, truthfulness, your four legs were established by the four principles of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. Sri Vyasadeva divided the one Veda into four, the Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva Vedas, at the end of Dwapara Yuga. But in Satya Yuga, the whole of Vedic knowledge is easily understood by everyone simply by vibrating the syllable Om. In this age, there are no ritualistic or pious activities such as sacrifice, since everyone is sinless, austere, and fully engaged in worshipping the personality of Godhead, Lord Hamsa, through the process of meditation. I'm again repeating the translation. In Satya Yuga, the undivided Veda is expressed by the syllable Om, and I am the only object of mental activities. I become manifest as a four-legged bull of religion, and thus the inhabitants of Satya Yuga, fixed in austerity and free from all sins, worship me as Lord Hamsa. Hare Krishna. So this is a conversation between Lord Krishna and Uddhava. Uddhava being very intimate, close associate of the Lord. And Lord Krishna is speaking on the subject matter of Varnashrama Dharma, explaining how in the very beginning, Satya Yuga, because everyone was firmly established in the mode of goodness, and there was at that time the one undivided Veda, everyone being pure in consciousness, they worship the Lord by the transcendental sound vibration of Om. And there is mentioned also how the four pillars of Dharma, which are described here as Satyam, Tapa, Satyam, Tapa, Sauchyam, and Daya. Satyam, Daya, Tapa, Sauchyam. They are mentioned in different orders, actually. In the 7th canto, when Narada Muni speaks also, the different personalities who deal with the subject matter of Varnashrama Dharma. In the 7th canto, it is Narada Muni, when he engages in conversation with Yudhishthira Maharaj, and quite extensively, covering a period of 5 chapters, there's a detailed information about the system of Varnashrama. So whether the entire Varnashrama system is manifest or not manifest, as we find in Satya Yuga, these 4 pillars of Dharma, and that's very important, are meant to become the standard within society. Tapa, austerity; Socham, cleanliness; Daya, compassion; and Satyam, truthfulness. So it is described that in Kali Yuga, we are now in Kali Yuga, in the 1st canto of the Bhagavatam, it describes how Dharma is standing only on one leg, and that is that means that the other pillars of dharma are practically non-existent. And therefore, we find a very, very disturbing situation in society, because these principles of dharma are not followed. So we learn, of course, from the Bhagavad Gita that the Supreme Lord, he appears at different times for dharma samstapanarthaya, to reestablish the principles of not just religion, but religiosity. There's a difference between religion and religiosity. Religiosity refers to the eternal, unchangeable principles of what we call dharma. Whereas religion is reflecting some aspects of religiosity. Religion may change, and religious principles, as we see in the history, are sometimes given by different personalities according to desha, Kala Desha Patra, time, place, and circumstance. The Vedas are very unique in that they give us eternal knowledge, which is meant to bring one actually to the highest level of transcendence. And especially in the Bhagavatam, we are being reminded again and again that unless one comes to that highest level of transcendence, what is the highest level of transcendence? To know about Krishna. To know that Krishna stu Bhagavan Swayam, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that we have an eternal personal relationship with Him. That is the essence of the message of the Bhagavatam. And these four pillars of dharma need to be firmly established in order for the in order for that understanding actually to come. So to a large extent, the system of varna and asrama is meant to help individuals come to that platform. So in Satya Yuga, as it is mentioned here, people are already situated in the mode of goodness and beyond. They are already engaged in unalloyed devotional activities. So therefore, varnashrama system is less required. So now we are in Kali Yuga, where these principles are not followed. But as Prabhupada explains, with the advent of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has introduced the process by which we can again actually manifest the age of Satya Yuga. We have that unique and very rare, extremely rare situation where within this particular Kali Yuga, because this doesn't happen in all Kali Yugas. In the day of Lord Brahma, as we know, there are 1,000 Kali Yugas, 1,000 cycles of, isn't it, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali Yuga. But only in one of those Dwapara Yugas, Krishna appears one day once rather in the day of Lord Brahma, as we know. And immediately after Krishna appears, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears. And there is that opportunity, very rare opportunity, we could say, of manifesting again Satya Yuga. In other words, all of us who have come in contact with Krishna consciousness, somehow or other, have, because we don't know how that this has happened, but we have taken birth at this particular time in the history in the making, as they say. So we have that very rare opportunity to be part of this. It's called master plan. You know, companies or organizations have master plan, and if you don't know what the master plan is, you're not going to get anywhere. So we need to know what is Krishna's master plan, and that master plan is actually revealed through Krishna's representatives, actually the acharyas. It is there in the Shastra, but we are generally, especially in Kali Yuga, not very qualified to understand. Even it mentions in the Brahma Samhita, Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabham. Vedeshu Durlabham. Vedas, we're speaking about Vedas here, very difficult to understand. Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakto. Unless one becomes a devotee, only those who are devotees can understand. Because devotees, they take guidance from acharyas, isn't it? As a matter of fact, this Srimad Bhagavatam is very, very unique. I mean, the Bhagavatam itself is unique, but the rendering of the Bhagavatam, how we are receiving the Bhagavatam, through our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada, he has, in all of the purports practically, he has included the very, we could say, profound commentaries of the previous acharyas, of the main previous acharyas. I mean, to get even commentary or understanding of one acharya is powerful enough. Or to speak of, 7 major Vaishnava acharyas, that is one reason, one of many reasons why this particular rendering of the Srimad Bhagavatam is extremely powerful and actually making so many people all over the world become devotees. We recite every day this verse whereby it explains that the Bhagavatam is our means of conquest. Means of conquest means for our own self. We have to conquer over Maya. We have to conquer over the modes of material nature. And also it is a means of conquest, we could say, socially or within society. The whole world is being misdirected because of not having this knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam. Our whole educational system is actually going in the wrong direction because of not knowing what is the real vidya, Raja Vidya, Raja Guyam, because this highest of knowledge is very confidential and it is not revealed just to any ordinary person. One must have qualifications to receive this knowledge. One must be qualified in various ways, which are described, of course, in the Shastra. So, so for us at this particular time, it's like, although this knowledge, transcendental knowledge, is eternal and perfect, this is perfect knowledge because it is given, it is provided to us by the perfect personality, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. But at different times, through different incarnations, it is presented to facilitate individuals to actually come to that highest knowledge. So Srila Prabhupada, as the founder Acharya of our society, he was, representing, especially when he went to the Western countries, he was representing, he was a sole, just one person representing the entire mission and movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which, as we know, we have come to know by being connected with this movement, that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu especially appeared and came to reveal the topmost level of transcendence, the topmost expression of dharma, of Sanatan Dharma. But in order for us to actually come to know or to understand and to realize that highest level, it was the, we could say, conclusion of our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada, that in order for us to come to that highest of level, there is necessity to actually introduce the system of Varnashrama. We are reading here how in Satya Yuga, everyone was already situated on the highest platform of goodness and beyond, and therefore there was no need of Varnashrama. We are now in Kali Yuga, the opposite is there. Kali Yuga, who is situated in the mode of goodness? I mean, majority of people on the planet don't even know the term mode of goodness. They have no understanding of what is actual goodness. Everyone is giving their own interpretation of goodness, isn't it? Of truthfulness, of honesty. And those principles, so-called principles of goodness, have been introduced actually in the various constitutions of practically every country in the world, including India. But they are actually not properly understood. They are in many ways perverted reflection of what is the actual principles. Just like Prabhupada explains, practically in every country, everyone is promoting, the principles of equality, the principles of friendship. So we are promoting equality and friendship amongst human beings, and at the same time we're killing unlimitedly, other species. We don't consider them to be so important. So it means it is improper understanding of these principles. So we're talking about principles here. Satyam Daya Tapasocham. The real understanding of truthfulness, the real understanding of compassion, because there's so many organizations. I mean, United Nations is promoting compassion, equality, and all, but we see the end result. Even I was reading some time back how within the United Nations itself, within that organization, they have all kinds of misunderstandings, and it has to be that way because no one has the proper understanding of these principles, these eternal principles of Dharma. And these eternal principles of Dharma cannot be understood unless we purify our consciousness. And the way in which the consciousness can be purified is by hearing about and knowing about the Supreme, ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So therefore, the acharyas are the ones who, from time to time, they will give particular instructions that will facilitate our rising from the lower modes of nature to the, at least to become situated in the mode of goodness. And in our particular situation now, in the 21st century, in which we are finding ourselves, it is the verdict or the understanding of our founder Acharya that although we have been given this rare opportunity to be exposed to the highest understanding in terms of transcendental knowledge as given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but in order for us to actually come to that platform, the system of Varnasrama is recommended. There are many statements to that effect made by our recent acharyas, beginning at, especially with Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who is known as the pioneer for introducing Krishna consciousness, the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world, because he had that vision. He was the real visionary in knowing that now was the time to introduce Srimad Bhagavatam especially and other Vedic literatures outside of India. So he's very much part of the master plan, and all of us as devotees, we need to try and understand what is that master plan and where do we fit into that master plan. If we don't know there's a master plan, we won't fit in. We'll never fit in that master plan, isn't it? So we need to know that the acharyas, they're the ones who reveal. They reveal what we should be doing at this particular time in Kali Yuga, especially. And that personality who has given us that master plan in detail is actually none other than our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada. So, so therefore, we need to cultivate this knowledge of Vedic understanding, which is especially presented to us in the form of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And we need to follow, we need to know what are those instructions given by Srila Prabhupada. And again, you know, in Kali Yuga especially, what is important is repetition. We need to hear and hear and hear again and again and yet again, because without hearing properly, it just doesn't sink in, so to speak. So Srinvatam Sokata Krishna, we need to hear about either directly Krishna or things in relation to Krishna, isn't it? So the Vedas are describing so many things about Krishna, and the Varnasrama system is part of that hearing. We need to hear. We need to actually get trained, and that's why Srila Prabhupada spoke about what many of us have heard and keep hearing, and we need to keep hearing until we actually come to the point of acting on what we hear. So Srila Prabhupada wanted us to establish Varnashram colleges for the very purpose of actually beginning that process by which more and more of our devotees initially, and then the general public, people in general, will come to know about, okay, what we need to do, how we can reestablish and develop these principles of Satyam, Daya, Tapa, Socham, which are the basis, which are the foundation of Krishna consciousness, isn't it? And Prabhupada was relating how in the early days, even before he went to the Western country, one of his godbrothers, actually, before Prabhupada went to the West, some of his godbrothers had actually gone to England, isn't it? And had non-verbal communication. He does it all the time. So one of his godbrothers was in England, and actually they were meeting. That's a big difference between Srila Prabhupada's approach and the approach of his godbrothers. Who were his godbrothers meeting with in England? They were meeting with all kinds of, lords and people in high position, educated and whatnot. Because actually, Prabhupada's godbrothers, many of them were highly educated, having master's degree, doctorate degree. Prabhupada just had a simple BA, And he didn't even go to the convocation. He didn't accept it. So anyway, Prabhupada was relating that in preaching to some of these lords in England, one of the godbrothers was having this conversation whereby he was being asked, because that particular sannyasi was glorifying Vedic culture, and how in the Vedic culture, the basis of the Vedic culture is like Brahminical culture, Brahmana. So Brahmanas are so highly respected, in India, in the Vedic culture. So this particular person was very, attracted, and he was saying, "Can I become a Brahmana? How to become a Brahmana? Yeah, you can also become a Brahmana. Just have to follow, no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no sex life." And, the response was, "This is impossible." Actually, for most people in the world, they have no understanding whatsoever of these concepts or principles. And when it is presented to them, as Prabhupada would often say, people get mad, they get angry. They don't want to hear these things because it means they have to change. They have to change their habits. So people engaged in sinful activities are engaged in sinful activities because they are addicted and they are attached in so many ways. So therefore, these principles of dharma, which absolutely need to be established in order for Satya Yuga to again become manifest, in order for society to function properly, these principles of dharma are needed, and for that there is necessity of systematic training and education, and that systematic training and education is to be found in the establishment of gurukulas, varnashram colleges, etc. So this is very much part, very essential part of the master plan, and all of us have some particular role to play, and it is our duty and responsibility, all of us, to find out where do we fit in, because we have to fit in. If we don't fit in, then we're going to be left behind. We should not want to be left behind. Prabhupada says that Mahaprabhu's movement, which started 500 years ago, is only going to be manifest for 10,000 years. We may say, well, that's a long time. It's not really a long time. And once the movement of Lord Chaitanya is no longer present, well, the end of Kali Yuga is a long time, you know. There's still some 432,000 years of Kali Yuga, out of which only 5,000 have elapsed. So that means that we should be trying to our utmost to understand the messages that are being conveyed in the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And if we want to gain the favor of Krishna, we first have to gain the favor of his representatives. In particular, we have to gain the favor of our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada, and all the previous Acharyas who can give us the means and ways by which we can understand and become part of this mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I'm reading again for those few souls who came after the text was read. Anyways, we normally do that at the end of the class anyways. This was text number 11. Correct, 11. So the translation is as follows. In Satya Yuga, the undivided Veda is expressed in the syllable Om, and I am the only object of mental activities. I become manifest as a four-legged bull of religion, and thus the inhabitants of Satya Yuga, fixed in austerity and free from all sins, worship me as Lord Hamsa. Hare Krishna. Any comments, questions? Yes.
So Satya Yuga, they used to do Omkara.
Yes.
Now they are telling, of course, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Sarva Vedeshu Bhushat, it's the highest of all like that. Of course, it's absolutely agreed, as our Parampara and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. Satya Yuga, they are all highly mature, right? As compared to...
They're all Brahmanas.
Yeah, Brahmanas.
They're all self-realized
so,
souls.
Why it was so Omkara, not Hare Krishna Mantra? Does it mean like Pranava Mantra, Omkara requires Upadesha? That's why it is not recommended in Kali Yuga. Comparative, just like Vishnu has Sahasranama, Sri Rama Rama Rameti. There are differences between among the Vishnu names also. Hare Krishna Mantra is the highest, like comparison between these two, Omkara. If so, why it is mentioned now here Kali Yuga Mantra?
Because the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the eternal and highest form. We know from Bhagavad Gita, we were quoting that verse, how the highest knowledge is very confidential. So, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam. So, there are many people who are transcendentalists. Most people who are transcendentalists actually don't know about Krishna, isn't it? So although in Satya Yuga, people, they were transcendentalists, they were all in the mode of goodness, but the means by which the Vedas was revealed was the Omkara. It means that the Hare Krishna Mahamantra was there, but was concealed. Just like where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not mentioned, he's a concealed incarnation. So the Mahamantra also is concealed because it is a very confidential knowledge and information. So there's always some individuals who know about the Hare Krishna Mahamantra or who know about Krishna, but generally it is very few people. Even in our recent Guru Parampara, before the advent of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, only a few acharyas before him were having that understanding. So we could conclude, we could say that although in Satya Yuga people are very self-realized, because the Mahamantra and because the realization Krishna through Bhagavan Swayam is very rare, it is not mentioned here, just it is mentioned about Omkara.
Just connecting question. Right? So does this mean now this is the we are so fortunate Krishna has come in this era Kali Yuga person. So definitely this will be limited to this Yuga and may not be there.
Yes.
Does this mean so like?
Well, yeah, we were mentioning that before you came, how it is only in one Kali Yuga during the day, during the one of 1,000 Kali Yugas, that we are given this opportunity to, know about Krishna. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially through the Goswamis of Vrindavan, is revealing about this the process of Bhakti Yoga, which is the only process that enables us to actually realize and understand Krishna in his original transcendental form. So it means, as Krishna also explains in the Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Janmanam Ante, after many, many lifetimes, and Manusyanam Sahasrisu, out of many persons. So even the Mahamantra, we don't find the Mahamantra in the Bhagavad Gita. We don't find the Mahamantra even in Bhagavatam. Although Bhagavatam is the Samam Bonam, is the highest Shastra. It is concealed, and one needs to be, well, because of the advent of Lord Chaitanya, we kind of take it for granted. Knowing about Krishna or the chanting of the Mahamantra. But it is a special special mercy that is given in this particular period in history, in this particular Kali Yuga, and we should understand that it is something that is very rare. So it is due to the Lord is Krishna's arrangement that he makes it available. He makes the process of Bhakti Yoga more easily available when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes. Otherwise, it is practically, that's how rare it is.
Well, coming, I was hearing a lecture. You were talking about religion and religiosity. What is
Talking about?
Religion and religiosity, the difference.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah.
Religiosity is the
Religiosity and religion.
that's a principle of religion.
Religiosity, well, as Prabhupada explains, people have different religions. So religion is based on on faith, and one can change from one religion to another. But when one understands the principles of religiosity is more like dharma. So dharma is not something that can change, right?
So religiosity can be understood as dharma.
Yeah. Religiosity, well, we also say the principles of religion, but religiosity, when I was talking about that difference between religion and religiosity, I was equating more or less religiosity to the principles of dharma. So in that sense, in the same way that dharma, we say sanatan dharma, so eternal principles are there. So in that sense, religiosity, like that. Yes, actually we have a bit of a tight schedule this morning. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Sri Prabhupada ki, Gauda Pimanandi. All brave souls.
Maharaj ki
Still raining?
Yes, Maharaj.
it is raining.
There is one small announcement actually. In like last time when Maharaj visited, the Maharaj PhD was approved, and this time like last night we got a news that Maharaj today is going to have his convocation today at 11 o'clock.
But already that was approved after the
You
convocation.
can say Hari Bol for 3 times.
The convocation happens after the.
You know, what happens is that there's always formalities involved. So when I was here last time, yeah, it's like it's approved, but then they go through a whole thing, and then you finally